All right, so in this lesson, I'm going to take you through the factoring or the factorization of trinomials. Now, to know what's going on with trinomials as far as factoring is concerned, we need to first know where those trinomials come from. So I'm going to do 4 basic sums, which will kind of serve as a foundation for our factorization here. Now, the first sum has to do with the FOILing process of x plus 2 into x plus 3. And the second sum will be FOILing x minus 2 into x minus 3. All right, let us just start with these two because they've got some similarities. So first of all, in this context, the question would have said simplify. Now, x times x is x squared. Then you have 3x and 2x and plus 6. Of course, you add your like terms, then this becomes x squared plus 5x. Maybe let's write it nicely. I try. Plus 6, like that. So now, obviously, if I give you a trinomial like this and I ask you to take it back there, then the question there will be factorized. Okay, that's what I'll be saying. But this way here, the question will be simplify. So remove the brackets, in other words. Right. And same thing down here. If I FOIL, I will get x squared minus 3x minus 2x plus a 6. And this becomes x squared minus 5x plus a 6. Now, two critical things that I need you to pay attention regarding these two expressions. One, what we did within the middle term is that the terms we added had the exact same signs. In one case, of course, in the case of A, the signs are positive, and in the case of B, the signs are negative. And as a result, we ended up with a plus there and a minus there for the middle term. Okay. In other words, the sign of the middle term really, in this case, came up from the signs of our outers and inners. Okay. Multiplying the 3 with the x. That's very important to take note of, the 3 with the x and the 2 with the x. Same thing here, the x and the minus 3, the negative 2 and the x. That's where the signs came from. And we just had to add them up to get that. So I need you to take note of that fact. And this is not an accident, by the way. I also need you to factor or consider the fact that 3 and 2 in both cases are actually factors of 6. So what happens in this two cases is that we're looking at the sum of the factors of 6, which will give us the middle term, and obviously the product, that is the two factors of 6, must multiply to a 6. Now, this will always happen as long as your trinomial is in this form. In other words, if you have plus plus and a minus plus, you will always then deal with the sum and the product. So I need you to see that, all right? And of course, I will do more examples to solidify this. Now, the second option is really simple as well. It is all the following. So x plus 2, x minus 3. D, x minus 2, x plus 3. And if we do the FOILing, we get x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6. Take note that the sign of the middle term comes from the bigger coefficient. And again, this is very subjective in quote, okay? 3 is bigger than 2, so we're going to take a negative sign. Remember, when signs are not the same, we add and keep the sign of the bigger number. So this becomes minus x minus 6. Same thing here, x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6. And then we have x squared plus x minus 6. So what are we looking at in these two cases? We are looking at the difference, and the product will always be there. These are fundamentals that I need you to be aware of. Okay, so take note, whenever you have a minus minus, you're going to end up with opposite signs in your brackets when you factorize. Same thing when you have a plus minus, you're going to end up with opposite signs in your brackets as you factorize. So let me just take 2 examples or maybe 4 examples that will take us through this entire process of factorizing trinomials. Once we've done this, we will then look at advanced trinomials. The principle really lies in understanding all these 4 types. So we're going to factorize each of the following. We're going to factorize x squared plus 3x plus 2. That's number 1. Secondly, we will also factorize x squared minus 8x plus 15. Thirdly, we will factorize x squared minus x minus 20. And fourthly, we will factorize x squared plus 3x minus a 40. All right. Those are the 4 that we want to factorize. So once I scan through my trinomial here, I notice that I've got a plus plus. Now, that must say to you, you're going to have pluses in both brackets. And then another important thing, obviously, x times x will give us x squared. So my first will give me my first term. Then all I need now is to think of factors of 2 that will actually add up to a 3. Because 2 is prime here, we have only that option of 2 in 1. That's the only combination. And just like that, you are done factorizing. And of course, if you FOIL, it will give you back that x squared plus 3x plus 2. So this is quite basic. You always want factors of what? Of the constant term that will add up to the coefficient of the middle term. All right, because everything is a plus plus. Here, let us note that we have minuses. So actually, I'll have x minus x minus. But now in this case, I'm looking at factors of 15 that will add up to an 8, and that is obviously 3 and 5. The nice thing about these 2 trinomials that I just factorized is that it does not really matter where you put either of the factors because they will have the exact same signs. If they are not both negative, they'll be both positive. All you need to do, again, remember, just recognize the fact that it's a plus plus case or a minus plus case. A plus plus case says everything must be positive. A minus plus case says everything must be negative. Now, these are the ones where you got to think a little bit or go an extra mile. If you have plus in one bracket, you must have a minus in the other bracket. And we just want here factors of 20 with a difference of what? 1. Look at the coefficient of the middle term, 1. And that's 5 and 4. So 5 and 4 give a difference of 1. Now, the sign of the middle term is a negative. Therefore, the bigger number here must take the negative. So we must have a minus 5. We must have a plus 4, which means the 4 is suited for that bracket and the 5 is suited for that bracket. Just like that, we get to the next one, same thing. Once you see that it's a minus minus or plus minus, signs must be opposite. All right. Again, we're looking at factors of 40 here. That will give us a 3. So, and I know we are not all naturals in finding factors. So you're probably going to go 40 divided by 1. You realize that doesn't work. 40 divided by 2, you realize, no, that doesn't give me a difference of 3. You remember, these are the types where we look for the difference, okay? And obviously, you're not going to try divide 40 by 3, I hope. And then you go 40 by 4, and that still doesn't work because 4 and 10 will give you a 40, but 10 minus 4 is not a 3. But of course, I'm sure those of you who know the multiples would have figured already that 5 and 8 was the correct combination. But the moment you get to 5, you will at least have that. And so 5 and 8 have a difference of 3. And obviously, the 8 must take the plus and 5 must take the minus. So now you know this must be x plus 8 into x minus 5. And just like that, you have fully factorized your trinomials. This, again, is just a basic approach to factoring trinomial.